Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Powerful Man Show. I'm your host, Doug Holt, and I'm flying solo today, guys. Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews, he is out taking care of some family issues. And as we all know, family for all of us is the most important thing as we go through here. So, guys, today I'm going to talk to you about unconscious commitments and breaking the barriers that have been holding you back. You see, our conscious brain processes roughly 4 to 40 bytes of data per second. Now, that's pretty impressive until you look at the unconscious brain. Now, depending on the study you look at, the more conservative studies that I've seen show the unconscious brain, right, that processor working at 200 million bytes per second of information. Now, think about that for a second. 40 bytes per second versus 200 million. It's night and day. And to put that into perspective here, if I were to offer you a job and say, hey, look, I'm going to pay you $40 or 40 pounds, depending on where you live, to do this job, or 200 million, which one would you prefer, right? Obviously the 200 million. Yet how often do we as leaders work on our unconscious brain, right? How do we work on this programming that goes on in our head? Now, I recently, in fact, I just before recording this, filmed the second part of a training that we're doing for the men that are in our brotherhood and inner circle. These are 1-year mastermind programs that men pay upwards of $75K to be a part of, training on how to identify these roadblocks, these unconscious commitments and barriers that have been holding them back and break free of them, right? So you have to understand what it is and identify it. And this was a game changer for me in my growth along my journey as well. And when I think about these unconscious commitments, the way that I think about it is you want to imagine that you're a high performance sports car, right? And you are, right? You're the man, right? This is your one life, your body, your soul, and whatever your religious beliefs are. But we know we have one shot at this. And so you're this high performance sports car, yet it seems like the brake is going, right? It's almost like someone who's enacted the emergency brake or the e-brake along this journey. And that e-brake is our unconscious commitments, right? They're things that we're unconsciously committed to that's lying below the surface. We're not even aware of it, yet it's why patterns keep coming. This is the emergency brake that keeps you from achieving the goals and dreams and desires that you want, right? This along with a few other things. But to keep this simple in a short training, we want to just talk about it in this analogy here. And if you've had a complaint, a goal that you haven't achieved, and it's been a reoccurring theme in your life, well, I'm going to tell you that you're unconsciously committed to getting that result. So if your relationships aren't working, you're not having enough sex, if you're not making enough money, if your fitness or your aesthetics aren't as good as you want them to be, well, guess what? I'm going to say you're unconsciously committed to this. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be like, Doug, this is ridiculous. I want to change this. I want to be having, headbanging sex, making millions, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm with you. When I first heard this, it actually pissed me off. Because I'm like, what do you mean I'm unconsciously committed to this? I'm not committed to this life. And I was looking at what I was complaining about or what was going on in my world at the time. But the truth is I was unconsciously committed to it because I wasn't aware of the software. If you've been listening to this podcast, what I mean by the software is, if you listen to this podcast for any length of time, what I mean by the software is the operating system that is your mind, right? All too often, we'll spend time updating Windows or our iPhone or whatever it may be. But when's the last time you looked at the software that's running your thoughts, your decisions for yourself as a powerful man? So now that we've got the baseline, right? We know that the unconscious brain is operating at 200 million bytes per second of info versus the conscious brain only 40. How do we tap into that and really figure it out? And in this short podcast, I can't go into the depth of this, but I'll give you some insights here on how you can do it. So the first thing you want to do is, figure out what it is you're complaining about. Now, I recommend picking one of the 5 territories. So here at The Powerful Man, we talk about self, right? Yourself, how you fill yourself, fill your cup. Are you having fun, et cetera, et cetera? Then we have health, which is pretty obvious. Wealth, which is, abundance, right? How much abundance of energy, time in your life, money is coming into you. And then we have relationships, and then we also have business. So what's an area that you complain about the most? For a lot of you guys, because here at the Powerful Man, our flagship program, our most popular program is called the Activation Method. And we're known as the number one program for married business owners, right? To help save and really transcend their relationships, right? We help guys get back from the brink of divorce, or guys that are doing okay in their marriages really excel. And we have a proven track record. We've been known for that for many years. So a lot of you guys that listen to this, are struggling in the area of relationships, but you can pick the one that's best for you. Most people are going to pick health or relationships. They're easy ones to target, but it may be financial into the money segment. So those are kind of the areas. I've been coaching for over 20 years. So these are the things that I hear come up often. Now, once you've picked that, right, that area, I'm going to ask you, is this a pattern? Right? Has this happened before? Have you complained about this before? So I'll use your marriage, right? Have you complained to yourself or to somebody else about the lack of sex or lack of intimacy in your marriage more than a month, right? So has it been going on for more than a month, a year, maybe, or years? And, if you're nodding your head yes, then you are unconsciously committed to this result, right? You are committed to the result that you're getting. And again, I realize that this is going to be a hard pill to swallow for a lot of us, but it's the truth. It's the truth because you would have done something to change it, right? You would have done something to go deep into that. And because you are complaining about it, you're reinforcing that unconscious commitment. This is also why things start to go well for a little while in whatever area it is, in our relationships, in our business, and the amount of money we make, or our health is a common one, right? And then all of a sudden what happens is, we sabotage. Somebody else sabotages us, or something comes out of the blue and we're right back to where we started, or worse, right? Just a little bit worse. And usually it goes down a little bit worse, and then we build it back up to where it was, and we go down, back up and down. And it almost is like this horrible yo-yo going up and down in our life. An easy one to think about is weight loss, right? A lot of us have been there where you try to lose some weight, you get close to your goal, and then all of a sudden you gain it back, right? Very common. That's not physiological as much as it is psychological, right? There's a barrier there, right? That person saying, I'm not good enough, or I'm not worthy to be at that weight, right? Or something's going to happen. There's an unconscious story or commitment that's going on that's right under the surface here. It's a layer below that you can't see. And so how do you find this? Well, an easy way, or a way that I recommend starting off, is picking the 5 people that are closest to you, right? A lot of times it's going to be your spouse, and asking them, hey, what do I complain about the most? Now, for me, when I did this exercise, what came back to me from my wife and from several people was I was complaining how tired I was. Right? They would say, Doug, you're always talking about how tired you are. I'm like, really? Okay, well, I'm tired today, but I don't feel like I really say it that often. And do people really know how hard I work? I run 3 companies. Like, that's crazy to run one company, let alone 3. So, give me some credit here. Well, I let down my guard and I started to dig deep, right? It's easy to be defensive. I knew that, right? Deer, right? When we think about guys being a deer, defensive is one of them, right? When you defend, explain, excuse, right? React. That's a deer. Well, here at the Powerful Man, we're wolves, right? We're alphas. So I decided to dig a little deeper. Now, this is over a decade ago that I did this. And I started noticing that I was probably saying it 6 to 10 times a day, if not more. Right? Could you imagine that? Imagine myself going through the day and my wife's telling me, you're always complaining how tired you are. I'm like, okay, well, again, in that moment, I was tired. But still, yeah. I don't say it all the time. I mean, I might feel it often, but what have you. And then to have my eyes opened up essentially to the reality of how often I was saying it just blew my mind. And then, of course, I wondered, geez, how many other things am I saying all the time? So I started really asking people. And, there wasn't a lot of work on unconscious commitments available, and I couldn't find it anyway. So I had to piecemeal a whole program together on how to uncover these unconscious commitments, then how to break through. And I can tell you, once I did the work and went through it, my life drastically changed. My income went up exponentially. I wasn't working anymore. In fact, I was working a little less. My sex life got, I'll tell you, a hell of a lot better. And it wasn't bad, but it got a hell of a lot better. And all of these other areas and relationships did. Now, I'm far from perfect. I'm still uncovering unconscious commitments every day. It's almost like one of those things that you peel a layer of the onion, so to speak, back. And it's awesome, but you find another layer and you keep peeling and peeling and peeling. But out of that, you become a better man. And more importantly, the commitments that are going on, that are running this 200 million bit per second processor in your brain, right? That is focused on what you're consciously committed to. I am consciously committed to having a passionate, you know, sexy marriage, right? Full of love and sex and you know, just really intimacy going through there. I'm you know, really I'm committed to making generational wealth for my family so I can leave a legacy and help other people. I'm committed to helping men around the world really fix their marriages, right? That's my legacy work here. And so now I can start using that processor to focus in on what I'm consciously committed to. All too often we walk around and we don't realize it, but you get what you focus on, right? You know, if you focus on the negative, we all have for people that do that, they'll take a political spectrum, right? Anyway, it would be the left or the right. I don't care. Wherever you lie. If you have someone who's on an extreme and all they do is focus on that extreme, they start seeing it in their day-to-day life, right? They see it everywhere, right? Cars driving down the street, emissions are too high, emissions are too low, whatever it may be. Whatever they see, they operate through this lens of their political spectrum. Now, I will invite you to consider that we do this with our unconscious commitments. If I'm unconsciously committed to my wife being a bitch, then guess what? Everything she does is going to be as a bitch. She gave me water, but she didn't fill up my mason jar, right? I drink out of a mason jar. She didn't fill it up all the way. Oh, horrible. Whereas on the flip side, I'm consciously committed to having an intimate, connected marriage. I'd be like, wow, my wife walked all the way across our house, down the stairs to here where I am. And she gave me, 30 ounces of water. That's pretty awesome, right? And so same thing happens, but we see it through a different lens. And these are part of our unconscious commitments. And these are also the brakes that hold us. If you've heard of upper limiting, right? And I might do a whole nother episode just on that for you guys. But what happens is it's almost, and this was from, can't think of his name right now, but it's from the book called The Big Leap, right? You can go and get that book, Gay Hendricks, great stuff. So if you look at this, what he found out, and I found this to be true in all my clients and in my personal life, is that as we start to increase an area of our life, right, whatever it may be, let's just say it's money, right? You start to make a lot of money, the money that you want. Then all of a sudden you start spending it like crazy, right? We've all seen this happen, right? Your bank account's the same no matter how much money you make. Well, really what's happening is we reach a certain number of income and the thermostat kicks in, right? That's our limit. Our subconscious mind says, no, Doug, you're only worth $1 million, right? Or whatever it may be for you, right? You're only worth $1 million. So if you make 1.2 million, you're going to spend, 300,000 or whatever it is and bring that down. And it's like the thermostat in my house, right? We live by the base of the mountains. My wife and I love the mountains. So we chose to live here. It can get quite cold. And so when it gets cold, the thermostat kicks in. So kicks in, the heater turns on, brings the temperature back to the level that we want it. This happens in our life as well, right? In all different areas. So as we start to make money, as we start to have more sex, or relationship starts to get good, the subconscious thermostat kicks in and it says, no. We don't play at this level. We don't play at the 1.2 million level, Doug. You play at the 1 million level. Let's bring you back down. Or we don't play at the level of having intimate relationships, right? Relationships are supposed to be a struggle. They're supposed to fight and argue. So let's go ahead and start an argument over something stupid or whatever it may be. Yeah, you shouldn't be, have a six pack and be a father. Nah, let's go ahead and binge on that pizza and drink some beer and go out with the guys for the night or whatever it may be. So these things carry on in our life over and over again. And so as we look at these patterns and start to realize that these are really the emergency brakes that are keeping us going in, we want to start to change those, right? We want to change our upper limit. So as I would talk about with clients, what your limit used to be, right? Your ceiling, so say $1 million, we want to make that your new floor. In other words, that's your new bottom, and the ceiling raises to 1.5, 2, 3, 4, 10 million, whatever it may be for you. And you can do that by leveraging the unconscious brain. Now, what I didn't tell you about was some of the studies that say the unconscious brain actually processes over 400 billion bytes per second, right? I gave you the conservative number because I wanted to start there, right? 200 million. There are other studies that are out there that I've read that's 400 billion. Big difference, right? If you look at billion, how much money you'd have to make for a billion versus just a billion versus a million, let alone 400 billion. It's absolutely astronomical. And I've seen this work with some of the biggest high performers in the world. Is what they focus on is just the subconscious, right? How do I work on that subconscious brain? So the first thing you want to do, again, is I invite you to do is email or call or talk to 5 people you're close to and ask them what it is you complain about. So start there and look at what you complain about and look at, is this something I really want in my life? Well, obviously not, because it's a complaint. So first of all, stop complaining about it. Second thing you want to do now is figure out why you're unconsciously committed to it. Admit it. Just own up to it. I'm unconsciously committed to being 50 pounds overweight. I'm unconsciously committed to having a crappy marriage, right? Et cetera, et cetera. And look, guys, if you're struggling in your marriage and you're a married business owner and you haven't gone through the activation method, I guarantee you're unconsciously committed to it because you're making excuses about time, money, whatever it may be. The system works, right? If you're unconsciously committed to being heavier, right? You can get a personal trainer, right? There's ways to do this and get over the hump. But you start to make stories in your head of why you can't do it. You can't afford it, why you don't have the time, why it's not the right, whatever it is, right? In your system, you start making excuses and some of them are lame and some of them seem valid, but really this is the emergency brake that's holding you back, right? And you need to pop that brake immediately so you can go moving forward. So it starts with identifying what that is. What is that complaint in your area? Pick 3 or so, right? I like to pick 3 complaints in one area. So say relationships, here's my complaint. Right. And then I like to see, if I flip the script, if I'm unconsciously committed to being tired, well, I want to be consciously committed to being energized, right? Who would I have to be unconsciously committed to being tired? So I would have to be, I have to be a victim. Wow, that's a tough pill to swallow. Why? Because I actually could go to bed earlier, yet I'm not. So somehow I'm getting off on complaining about being tired. Somehow I'm getting something out of being tired because I could eat better. I could take naps. There's all these things I could do to handle that complaint. So why haven't I done it? Well, because I'm unconsciously committed to it. Now, if you look at these, you want to look if there's any themes to it. For most of the themes, again, this is harder to do on a show like this, but for most people, I would say bell-shaped curve, but 90% of the people, it's going to be that you don't feel worthy enough or good enough to have this in your life. So again, I'll use the $1 million, easy example here. If you're making $1 million, your take home's $1 million and you want to make $1.5 million, but you just can't seem to get there, or you keep spending more when you get there, you buy a new car, something happens, the roof needs fixed, whatever it is, right? The reason is you're unconsciously committed. You're saying, I'm not good enough to have 1.5 million take home, right? I'm not that good enough of an operator or a business owner or CEO or whatever it is. I'm not good enough. I'm only good enough to the 1 million, or I'm not good enough for my wife to want to have, headbanging sex with me, or I'm not good enough for my kids to listen to me, or whatever it is. It usually comes down to that segment. Now, once you realize that and you've come to terms with it, now you can make a change. Now you can pivot. And this is where you want to take some massive action, guys. This is where you want to figure out what are those behaviors that somebody who is committed would take, right? So someone who is committed to having energy, they're going to go to bed early. They're going to turn their phones off at a certain time, right? We have a thing called the alpha decompress, right? It's a routine that we have our men go through. If you're committed to having energy, you go through the alpha decompression program, right? You also do the alpha rise and shine, right? Those are 2 things that you do, and you're going to guarantee you're going to have more energy in your life. Easy to do, right? Lots of excuses. Doug, I have kids. Got it. I do too, right? You can make time. Trust me. Doug, I don't want to spend the money to do this, whatever it is for your explain. Great. Save the money, invest, or just settle on you're going to keep complaining. Doug, I can't control my wife. I think you can, right? If you've gone through the activation method, you can't control your wife, but when you change your behaviors, in my experience, she's going to change hers 9 times out of 10, right? It seems like, in fact, maybe even more than that. Now I think about the guys that go through the program. And this is what you want, guys. You got to take action. So it starts with sending that email. I do it by email. You can do it in person, phone, etc. What are the things that I complain about the most? I'm doing this exercise. I have this coach. You can use me as your excuse. I have this coach who's asking me to do this. I'm just curious, what are the things that you feel I complain about the most? We have one guy in the inner circle who went through this and it just really opened his eyes, like blew him away. And so he did it with his team, like his leadership team at work, right? He asked them that question. And what he found was a lot of them asked in return, geez, can you tell me what I complain about? And he walked them through this process. Now, again, the trainings we do for the men that are in the movement are much more, robust, right? We have slideshows and programs and processes. I don't share that to impress you, but to impress upon you, it's harder for me to do it during a podcast type show but I just want to introduce you guys to this concept. Because when I first heard it, first, I didn't believe it. Second, once I started to realize that it was true and it did work because I saw it working, is, I didn't want to believe the results. And when I started taking action, like real action on this, I saw my life change dramatically. And I want that for you guys. Right. So I'm trying to give you a glimpse on what this is. And whatever area it is, what is it that you're really hiding from? Why aren't you taking action in that area? And now it's time to pull the trigger and friggin' do it. Right? If you're on the fence about getting a trainer, do it today. If you're on the fence about saving your marriage or having a better marriage, right? Good isn't good enough. Get into the activation method right away, right? Just do it right away. It's worth it. We only take 9 guys per group. So you want to get in there as soon as you can. If it's something around money, right? Really delve into your money story and figure out what's going on there. Why don't you have more money? Right? Money's abundant. There's people out there with tons of money. Transparently, I make good money. So a lot of mine was my money story, right? You got to work hard. Money doesn't grow on trees. All these things we say to ourselves are limiting beliefs. And they're further ingraining our limiting beliefs over and over again. So guys, I'd love for you to take this on. This is it's a much more advanced topic than we typically go through on these podcasts. But I'm just in the middle of training a big group of guys on this, and it's absolutely powerful. I'm seeing the results they're getting, and I want to share some of this with you guys so you can get some results as well. Regardless, right? The Powerful Man's a movement. Speaking of movements, guys, we have in the United States a 501c3 nonprofit called the Worldwide Movement, and the Worldwide Movement is dedicated to helping men around the world. And so this is something we've launched. It's something we've been trying to do. We're really about helping men all over the world really break the chains and really get their lives together, right? Not together, but it's living better than we are now. So this is something that we're committed to at the Powerful Man. Obviously, the activation methods, our flagship program, is a program. We also have, the Brotherhood, the Inner Circle, a father program for fathers. We have a lot going on. You got to start the activation method, but we are committed to helping men around the world. And that's why we do this show. That's why we started a nonprofit, so we can give back in a much bigger way. And you guys will be hearing more about that. Of course, if you are interested in more about the nonprofit, just go over to theworldwidemovement.com. That's theworldwidemovement.com. You get more information there. We're going to be hosting a men's summit, a virtual summit where we're going to be having expert speakers talking about issues facing the modern man. And that's going to be coming up in July. The best way to get on that is get on our newsletter. Right? Get on the newsletter for the Powerful Man. We'll get you information. There's going to be speakers from all other industries, from all other organizations. We're not just trying to promote our own stuff. That's not what we're about here. We're really about giving back and giving you guys other views. We're not for everybody, right? We specialize in helping married business owners. That's our specialty. It's what we've been known for years, and we're friggin' good at it. And so, but we need someone to help you, fix a tire, that's not our thing. So we're going to give you other views. We're going to have people talking about intimacy from a female perspective, a male perspective, fashion, even like what's your fashion take in? So guys, I'm really excited about this. If you can't tell, I will be hosting the event that will be coming on, and it will be put on by the nonprofit. And it will be a free event. So I hope you guys get in there. Get over to our Facebook group. You can get more information. Of course, go over to thepowerfulman.com. Get on the newsletter if you're not already. You will get updates on this event, and as well as other things that we have going on. So gentlemen, that's a wrap for us. As always, take some action. Whenever you got any nuggets out of this, take action now. Take action today. And I'll see you next time on The Powerful Man Show.